the Knicks game at Chippy's. So please welcome back Jeremy O'Harris.
Hey guys, and for those who want to know, they've already kicked Cat out of the game. The refs are worse than ever. They said that Cat has already done 2 fouls. Bullshit. And yeah, the Spurs are up.
Yeah, so the drama has started.
A lot of drama.
Let's talk about the drama in here.
Yes.
It's Pride Month. Birdcage obviously has this a huge reputation as this seminal queer film made in the studio system, but this movie came like more than 2 decades prior. So since you had seen Birdcage first, like a lot of people, what was it like to watch this film with so much of the later movies legacy implanted in your head?
Well, I mean, I also think that I'm coming to it with the other lens of knowing the musical, right? The like amazing Harvey Firestein musical that like was the adaptation of the play and obviously the original movie. And I feel like what blossomed for me in watching this movie was just how much of its identity it retained in the translation. It's a real feat of adaptation that Birdcage maintains so much of what it was, but also there's something that's so exhilarating when you go back to the raw material of a thing and can reckon with and like make sense of how similar and different expressivities are or like just cultural things are when it's in a different universe. Like God, I'm forgetting his name. God, what is his name? What's the name of the maid? The houseboy, Jacob. Jacob, yeah, Jacob in this version is black, and they asked Adrian Lester, a black actor. Mike Nichols wanted Adrian Lester to play the maid in the American version, and Adrian Lester turned it down because he said, "In America, if I were to be a black person playing a maid, what would that say?" So then they hired Hank Azaria, who isn't Puerto Rican.
Not even close. But
Yeah,
has a history on The Simpsons with doing all kinds
yeah.
of
Well, he
voices. So
decided to play a Puerto Rican caricature, and we thought that was better. Um, Guatemalan. Yeah, well, he says if there's an interview with him where he says, "I knew a lot of Puerto Rican fast talkers like this character, so I did." So I don't think he knew that he was playing a Guatemalan. I think he thought he was playing Puerto Rican. Unfortunately,
well, but it is kind of fascinating because like there is a lot of stuff that changes, but then a lot of the like jokes are like beat for beat, like very similar, which is amazing when you think about the different eras that the
yes.
movie was made in.
Well, I mean, so the thing that's really crazy is that the movie. I did a lot of research because I was like, I'm going to be ready for this. In 1978, when this movie came out and got 3 Oscar nominations, United Artists got the rights to do an American adaptation of it. Mike Nichols chased down United Artists and were like, "We need to do this. I need to do it. I want to do it." And they were like, because it was like sort of like it had been 5 years of them having the rights, and it was just like sort of sitting in turnover. And he was like, "No, don't lose this. This has the best comedic structure of any script I've ever read. This is Mike Nichols." And they were like, "Okay, if Mike Nichols really wants to do it, let's go. Like let's do it." And so then Mike Nichols was like, "There's only one person who can do the rewrite." He got Elaine May to do it. Elaine May barely made changes. She made changes to like things that might make it relate more to Americans, like just names and stuff. But for the most part, she was like, "This script is perfect." And I think what's most interesting about it is that it went from being a pre-AIDS movie to being a post-AIDS movie by the time it came out. And like that energy, and also just in America being a pre-Reagan movie in 1978 to being a post-Reagan movie. Like, how did that change its relationship to an audience? I will never really know, but obviously audiences wanted to engage with it deeply because it made $142 million domestically.
It's wild. Also, when you think about like the different kinds of conservatism, like what is a conservative family in France in the 70s versus a conservative family in the U.S. in the late 90s.
Yes.
You would think it would result in different stories, but actually it kind of shows you that certain elements of these things stay the same, right?
Yeah, and I do wonder. I mean, again, like I hate a remake, but I do wonder what it would look like now, right? Like if you were to make that movie now, what would that conservative family look like? If like the daughter. I mean, I literally at Yale my downstairs neighbor was the vice president's daughter. Mike Pence's daughter was my downstairs neighbor at Yale when I was at Yale all 4 years. She and I would like get mail for each other all the time. Like my mail was her mail was my mail sometimes. And so I'm like, what would it be like if Mike Pence's daughter was marrying one of my friends who has a gay dad?
Right, because it's just like it's a world that we're in, right, where you end up having inevitably these intersections of different kinds of high society experiences. I mean, Mike Pence went to Hamilton the week of the 2016 election. So that is the essence of what we're exploring here. The other is like what are different kinds of audiences' boundaries? You know, like the fact that this movie can play in a very popular register as a comedy, but it's still very, very much a queer movie is part of what was so radical at the time, but also why it sort of resonates over the decades. Right.
Well, I mean, I think that like there's something that's really shocking to me because there's so few movies, I think, where, and yes, like there's a level of caricature to them. Like, you know, I wonder, like, does the movie play as well if like, you know, there's not like a male female equivalent in the queer relationship, right? Like if their relationship isn't so gendered, does the comedy still play to the Midwest? That being said, there is something really affirming about having so many people in this movie who are so like outsizedly queer. Like seeing like the dad, right? The more masked character also wearing makeup in the very first scene is like a big expressive gesture to an audience that like you're watching faggots. Like you're not just watching like gay guys who are like construction workers. Like these are guys who work in drag, and even like masculinity is a type of drag to them, right? And I do wonder in our post like heated rivalry moment where for me my critique of that show was that I was like, I think this popularity is that like they are like such straight guys in drag who happen to have sex. Like what other movies could we see coming out or down the pipe or get that aren't being produced that like actually are about like really, really queer people that would also hit a popular audience?
Yeah, well, so off of that, we should address it. There's always been this question in the last few years about actors. Like, can an actor who identifies as publicly as straight play gay? And, you know, obviously with Birdcage, that didn't come up at all because outside of Nathan Lane, I mean, Robin Williams.
And also, people who were around, was Nathan Lane out then? No.
Please. No, you're welcome to. Oh, yeah, use the mic because then it records.
I am so sorry. If you watch I don't exactly remember which interview with Nathan Lane. It was shortly after Robin Williams passed. He told.
Yes.
I forgot.
Yes,
yeah,
you're right. Yes.
I forgot who he was talking to, but
it was Oprah.
No. Like in the interview post Robin Williams. The interview that I'm speaking about is the Oprah interview, but he went to Robin Williams and said, I am not out. My mother does not know. My family does not know. I know they're going to ask me about it. And lo and behold, Oprah did try to out him on national television, one of the biggest television with a major audience who wanted to see this movie. And Robin Williams stepped in when she asked him, I believe, I haven't seen this in a very long time, but I believe she asks him, like, are you gay? And I'm paraphrasing. You can watch it, the original. But Robin Williams actually steps in and says, no, but I am. And then that makes the audience laugh, and that gets all the heat off him. And then afterwards, he thanked him because he was being forcibly outed on national television.
Yeah. I mean, again, the boys of Heated Rivalry are doing that same drag today. That's why they're both acting queer, because one of them is and one of them isn't, which is pretty obvious. But that's a really crazy thing because one of the other things about Robin in that role is that Robin was supposed to play the Nathan Lane role, and it was supposed to be Steve Martin and Robin Williams, but Steve Martin didn't think he could play camp enough to be in the movie, so he turned Mike Nichols down. And Robin Williams said he'd just done Mrs. Doubtfire, so he didn't want to play another drag queen. So he was like, I want to play the more mask role. And then they went to Nathan Lane, and Nathan Lane was in a play. Yeah, he was in Guys and Dolls. Scott Rudin was directing it. You should be doing this. Scott Rudin
conversation will continue.
Scott Rudin was
after.
producing Guys and Dolls, and Mike Nichols went to Scott Rudin and somehow asked Scott Rudin for a favor that he did, and said, "Can you move your production so that he can be in this movie?" And he did it.
I love that. Well, and thank you for speaking up. I would love to get more audience conversation into this. One other question I have for you is kind of like a bigger picture one, which is, there is something that I think people don't always realize about the challenge of making a movie on this scale that is transgressive or will be perceived as challenging, because at the other end of it, we're watching it and it's funny and it's easy to watch. Talk about, because now you've made plays, you've written movies, you're directing in so many different ways. Like, just how hard is it to get something like this made?
I think that now, if I were to go to multiple financiers, producers, if I were to get this made, they'd be like I would legitimately have to go to I'm trying to think, I would have to have Hugh Jackman and oh god, who's the other guy? Who would the other guy be? Hugh Jackman and well, first of all, they'd have to be white. If I were oh, I want to do this Will Smith, they'd be like, oh, it's gonna be kind of rough. I don't think his audience is gonna show up for that. Or if the character, if the mother was, I got told the other day that there is not a tier 1 black actress. Yeah, there's not a single tier 1 black actress except for Zendaya. That was a real thing. A major financing company told me about a movie I was working on. I think that it would be very, very, very difficult to say all that, and then also to have the kind of money that allows for the type of club scenes they have, that amount of extras, that amount of even the needle drops that would be necessary to make that all work. It's so impressive this was made, and it speaks to both the time period and the bravery of a lot of those producers and financiers, and the sort of sense that there was just more permission to potentially fail, right? I think that people don't give themselves as much potential to fail, and I think you only make things like this if you have a high aptitude for potential failure.
Yeah, I mean, let me ask you about Slave Play on that front. I don't know if anyone here saw that. It's amazing, and it's mind blowing, but also super funny. So I think it's perfect to have somebody with your kind of creative talent talking about this sort of storytelling. I mean, when you are writing something that you know will make people uncomfortable, but you know it's also good, how do you work through that? To have the confidence to put it out there.
I think that I'm in a weird place with that now, because it's almost been a decade since I wrote that play, and I was young and in grad school, and I wrote it for grad school. I had the privilege of being someone who didn't have to worry about whether or not I would make money from the thing I was doing. I just got to make it, and I had, in a sense, a proof of concept of how funny and invigorating it was, because it was performed in my second year of grad school. So then 5 theaters tried to do it in New York City, which then the word got out that 5 theaters wanted to do it. So then everyone had a higher attention span on it when it did premiere. And then after it premiered, it was it immediately was this should go to Broadway. I don't know. I mean, it's not even, I don't know. I know now, doing work in a similar vein, people have become quite conservative and fearful about anything they don't know is a sure bet. Even if your daring has brought out dividends of profit in other ways, there's still so much fear that must be overcome each project, which is just depressing. I don't want to depress everyone. There's already a game that feels depressing outside, but I was
early.
But I was talking to God, what is his name? Secrets and Lies, Mike Lee. And Mike, I was like, oh my God, Mike, your new movie is so good. What's happening next? He's like, I have another movie. No one wants to finance it. I was like, you're literally Mike Lee. You've been to Cannes with every movie, basically. You've been nominated for Oscars. I think his actors have won. He is, bar none, a sure bet as a filmmaker. Also, his movies are not $150 million. He's not making Disclosure Day, and yet it's difficult for him to make a movie.
If that, then something like the Birdcage, even more so.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
So thinking about movies that star queer that center queer stories that are about like political, because like this movie is wildly political, right? Like the from like scene 3, we're hearing about like the like hypocrisy of the conservative government in France, and how like, and also about their like pedophilia, right? Like, you know, like this is about like the Epstein class in France, and the cover up they're trying to do about that in order to continue being the morality party. You think about a movie like that, and I think about the fact that like Scary Movie 6, which is out now, had to cut out a like grab them by the pussy joke because David Ellison owns Paramount, who did that movie, and they're friends with Trump. They didn't want to offend him. So I'm like, if one like evil like conservative owns like half of media now, who's gonna pay for my Birdcage? You know, A24 is like in part owned by the company that like pays for Thrive Capital, or is partially like funded by Thrive Capital, which is embedded with the Kushners and all these other people. It's like, how much freedom do any of us have in our coming moment, and how can we like maintain it?
Thank you for asking that question. Scary Movie 6 is playing across the way. It's still really funny. It probably would have been even funnier with that joke. Does anybody have any questions or comments they want to add? Yeah, just wait for the mic, please.
Thanks. I love the Birdcage, but I was really, really happy to see this version, which I'd never seen, because for me, I was always really, really angry at the children. Like, they're, like, for me, the weak part of the modern version, because they're so mean to their gay children. Just like Chandler on Friends. I couldn't watch Friends as a child. So mean to his gay parents. I couldn't take it. In a contemporary version, I feel like that would be more difficult. And I feel like in this version, it felt very validating to be like, she really had some stakes, right? Like, her dad was, like, about to hit her. She was, like, in a world that was very small. That made more sense. Ally McBeal made no sense to me. She's such a bitch in that movie. I hate her.
Yes.
Contemporary version, what would the kids be like? Like, why would they hate their gay parents? There's not a lot of reason.
I think that there's something kind of fun about imagining, like, not someone hating their gay parents, but being so embarrassed by like how the way in which we all take for granted. we took for granted all the things that people in like the boomer class and the Gen X class got for us. We're all like, ugh, Roe v. Wade, whatever. Ugh. You you know, you guys don't believe. I'm not even going to get into too political of a space, but like, I have friends who literally were like, who cares about what these people who fought for all of our rights want, like, or what they think? Like, they don't have the exact same politics as me now. I fucking hate them. And I'm like, yeah, but like, if we don't step in line with some of these people and like vibe with them a little bit more and like get them to understand us and like understand them more, then like maybe all the things they fought for will disappear. And they're starting to. Voter Rights Act, gone. Roe v. Wade, gone. Anyway, I think that maybe like the kids are maybe people who voted for Bernie, and the parents are people that voted for Kamala. And that is why they hate their parents. You know? Because I get a gay parent who like fought for gay marriage and like that's their main politic, being like, I don't know about Palestine and Israel. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, that can't be my end all be all. And then their kid being like, you hate me and you hate everything about me and I can't stand the Birdcage. You know?
You heard it here first. Other questions?
God, am I writing this movie? I'm writing it. I'm writing an adaptation of La Cage aux Folles.
I love it. Any other questions or comments for Jeremy?
We can get to the game,
yeah.
guys.
Oh, yeah,
okay. We got one more. Oh, 2 more. We got 2 more. Then we're going to the game. I'm dead serious about this.
I don't think it's really a question, but more of a comment. Like, I'm originally Dutch, so European. So I think I look different at the U.S. and my European upbringing. Seeing a movie like this, obviously, saw Birdcage. I saw this movie a long time ago, but it also shows that they were very progressive, even at those times back then in Europe. I mean, growing up, there were even Dutch movies where there was a lot of sex, like on screen, growing up in the 80s, you know what I mean? So I think you're talking about, obviously, movie makers, and I think it's maybe it's an idea to team up with European movie makers and investors even, because you're only talking about politics right now and tonight again, like we do every day over here, which is pretty insane actually. Because you're an artist and you wanna be, you want to create art and not be limited to the f-wits, that are in your way. Like, you want to express yourself, and you should be able to do that. And why don't you like team up with European
I
people
do.
and or like like a really stupid thing, but maybe like a total fantasy, but go and enjoy with the whole gang. Go to south of France, make that movie, and let's split the cost. Everybody pays for the stuff, but everybody gets their profit. Whatever we're gonna do, let's have some fun rather than well, Trump. You were talking about Trump, and it really bothers me because
I mean, I don't want to cut you off, but I will say this: like, there are problems in Europe. Yeah, the far right is really loud over there right now too.
Absolutely, I
But
agree. Yeah.
but I will say this: I do work a lot with international partners. I just have a movie that I made with people with producers in Japan that's coming out very soon. That's called The Color of the Sun. It's really exciting. It's a queer movie that takes place in Okinawa. My next movie is going to take place in Spain. I'm really excited about that and all my collaborators there. And I don't think this is just an American problem. I think it's a global problem. And I do think that part of the reason why this movie's good, so many of the movies I really love are so exciting, is because they are wrestling with the politics of the moment, the politics of the past, and the politics of the future. Right? Like, I just saw The Leopard for the first time. Visconti. Have you guys ever seen Visconti's The Leopard? If you haven't, I'm telling you right now, watch it. It is 3 hours. It is a psychotic experience because Burt Lancaster is the star. Burt Lancaster is American. This movie is Italian. He's speaking in English, but they dub him with an Italian actor. It's crazy. There's like 3 French people who are main characters in that. They're also dubbed Italian. Like, mouths are not moving in sync with the voice at all. It is the most stunning film I've ever seen. Luca
Very
Guadagnino wishes, but it's the most political movie I've seen, and it feels like it's so about what's happening right now with like the Silicon Valley crowd and like this new like sort of community of like new money who's like dictating to not only the US but the globe what the new world order is going to be. And we're in this moment where we can either fight back and try to have a revolution, or we can capitulate and sort of like become a part of their class. And that was made in Italy in 1968, won the Palme d'Or. The movie that won this year, Fjord, out of Cannes, is like a Romanian Dutch movie. They teamed up. Norwegian, Romanian movie. They teamed up. It's about like these like missionaries.
Religious extremism.
Yeah, who go to a small village. It's great. It's phenomenal. But I do think that, yes, I hear you. It's really annoying when artists talk about politics. Like, ugh, I know. I didn't do poli-sci. I studied Chekhov. But it is like the framework for how we live our lives, and it is our lifeblood. And I do think that like the only way out is by making communities and making communities outside of the one that you're from. So as someone who came from a small town in Virginia, I started making a community in Chicago and LA and then New York. That's where I found queer commonality. That's where I found people that didn't look like me, who hadn't grown up like me. And when I got privileged enough to go to Europe and go to Asia, I started to find even more communities. And I think my work got better because of that. So I think this movie is a testament to that sort of like that sort of wild hodgepodge of experiences. And finding commonality, because the fact that this movie was able to be made in French, then in English, and make like $500 million globally, just like in box office, is insane.
All right, we promised one last question. Where was that hand?
There was a gay hand that went up over here somewhere.
Don't be shy.
I see your hat, sir. Ask the question. I want to know. You had that. I thought it was you. Was it not you? Okay, we're done.
Maybe it was.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay,
there
great.
we go. Well, get the mic so that we can get it on the record.
You talked about hard to finance because one of the reasons you gave was it needs to be a proven profit maker, right? And then there's the other element of the cultural moment we're in, right? Is it both? Is it or is it really the finances driving it? The problem getting the support.
I mean, I think that like you mean is it both? Is it like the cultural moment we in and like the proven?
Correct.
Yeah, I think that yes. I think that there's an argument to be made that like the reason people felt really confident to make the Birdcage into a movie was because it was already a popular stage play that they could be like, let's make it into a movie in France. Then it was a really popular international film, and then 20 years later, they're like, remember that really popular like film that got nominated for 3 Oscars? Let's try to make that into a movie again. Like that totally is a part of it. It also is the moment we're in. I think that like in the early 90s, gay was always on the media because like literally people were fighting for their lives. I do think as well that there are films that get financed that have nothing to do with the current moment we're in and have nothing to do with like even any sort of proven anything that gets so much money for no reason. Again, I'm not going to dissuade any of you guys to go see any movie. See movies. It's great. I feel crazy that every year there are like 3 British movies about World War I or II that I don't give a fuck about, and I don't know anyone else who does. That like they're like, that movie is coming out and it has a $50 million budget and like blah blah blah, and I'm just like, who wanted this? Who wants a movie about a D-Day meteorologist? Trust me, like that is a movie that exists right now.
Pressure is playing down the hall. You should
go see it, I guess. But also, why? Why does that movie exist? Like, I've seen 75 movies about white men trying to figure out like what's gonna happen on D-Day. I don't know that I need any more. And I'm sure there are gay white men that must have existed during the World War I, and they haven't even tried to make a movie about one of those. Like I would watch that before I watch like Andrew Scott pretend to be a straight meteorologist. It's just really stressful to me. So, what about a gay white meteorologist? I don't want to do that. No, but
we're gonna figure out all your next.
There's a lot of different projects that I want to make. I would just say that like you are meeting someone who had a very like blessed entry point into the career I'm very grateful to have, who has now been 7 years into seeing the realities, especially for a lot of women and people of color and queer people, and am constantly beating the drum that like it could be better if like people had a larger imagination about what could be popular. And I think that like this is a great example of something that like is popular because it's excellent, and is also popular because it tells a very human story about very human people, and it happened because someone decided that gay people were humans. And that's exciting to me. And I hope that this is a reminder, this movie, your presence, your Instagram or letterbox about this movie being so good tonight will be a reminder to some like exec that maybe that gay script that's sitting on their desk, they should actually greenlight, and they shouldn't be afraid that people in Indiana won't get it because it's about a gay family, because a movie was made in 1978 and it like slayed.
Thank you for being here, Jeremy. He could have been at the Knicks game, but he decided to celebrate Pride with us. Come celebrate the Knicks with us and Pride at Shippy's right around the corner. Thanks again for coming out tonight.
Thank
you, Jeremy.
Thank you for having me. Thank you, guys.